Cause he was leaving.
but his connection is through a computer that's just set up to record, so there's no communication on his end.
Well, hello, buddy, anyway. All right, so it is January 5th, 2026, 5:15 PM. I will call the North Hero Select Board to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none. Approve bills for payment. We have our warrant. We all taking a look at the warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrant as presented.
Harry makes a motion to approve the warrant.
I will second.
Tim seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. I'll pass this around. Time we have public comment. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. Planning Commission, approved municipal planning grant agreement. Corinne, would you like to just bring us up to speed?
Yes, the planning commission has gone after a grant. They came to the select board and this Andy came and gave you an update as to why. Thank you. And the grant was approved and now it needs to be formally accepted. This is just rubber stamping because we've already gone through the process. But we need to have Carl sign it and then authorize me to approve it in their system called Gears.
Make a motion that we formally adopt the municipal planning grant agreement as presented and authorize Corinne to perform any necessary actions in the Gears system.
Okay, we have a motion by Harry. Joe seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
You want to sign it now, Carl?
Yep, I'll go ahead and sign it. Well, yeah. Make sure I get the right year. So the proposed development regulation amendments. As we know it there, the planning commission presented that to us. We have, well, along with their description and minor changes. And it's been presented to us. I'm not sure how that goes, if this is the only time.
So, at the last meeting, there was a little bit of confusion as to what the next steps were. So you asked me to put together, basically a reminder of what we've done to date. So that is attached. I've gone through this, and gone over it with Andy and Claire a little bit. And we really have, a decision to make as to whether or not we want to just approve what's in front of us. At the current state, we have had a hearing. We haven't made any changes to what was warned and reviewed at the hearing. We've gotten information from the planning commission that we feel adequately addresses concerns heard at the last testimony, and at the last meeting decided not to make any changes based on that. So we could put it on the next agenda, just approve it, move on. you had asked me to look into what some of the concerns were around the signs and whether or not those were incorporated in the changes that were reviewed. They were not. So really the deciding factor is, do you want to review the sign provisions that are in there and continue working on these proposed amendments, or do you want to approve them as they are?
And the sign was the 15.
Yeah.
The 32 is
So-
still in there?
So Andy Alling, I went to him and he said, we did change it
Okay.
from 32 to
Okay.
15, but there was, when I went back through the minutes and there was broader general discussion. The first time, so the planning commission turned these over to us April 4th. September 15th, you all had a discussion. And you were pretty clear that you wanted to revisit sign regulations, including the size limits and the election sign rules. And then there were also concerns brought up at the public hearing, as far as limits on how many and things that weren't directly addressed. So there was that one change of maximum allowed is 32, change to 15. But going through all the documentation, I mean, that's really what you're deciding. Is that all that you want, or were there bigger concerns brought up at the public hearing or in general as far as limits on how many?
I think
how
the
they
other
would be
thing
regulated?
that was made was the insertion of political under temporary signs. It's all under temporary signs.
You're not allowed to use the word political.
So that's coming out. Right? You're not allowed to use it. Can we say election?
Or campaign,
No, it's temporary.
just temporary?
I mean, unless you want to have a sign ordinance, and this is where, yeah, so I mean, there's only so much that regulations can do. They're for development. If we really want to get into other mechanisms, other elements that we want to see in our community, it's not a development process.
So I guess where we had left off there was that no sign was to be larger than 15 square feet.
That was the change you made. That's not
Right.
specific, that's not the whole section.
And it's in the aggregate also. So if you have separate signs, they all add up to.
That would be, I think, left up to interpretation, which would be the zoning administrator.
I think regardless of how many square feet are allowed for a sign, I think the thorny side of this question is content regulation alongside physical regulation, right? That's where government speech, that's where political protected speech and government regulation really collide. I think if we are satisfied with the development regulation components of how our sign provision is presented, then I think we as a board should approve it. Compartmentalizing the content component of that. I think we can reasonably expect that in an election cycle, those taxpayers in North Hero that do engage politically with temporary signs will do so again. And I think it is I think a discussion needs to be had with our zoning administrator about about how we want our sign ordinance to be deployed with respect to political speech.
I think this is the sticky wicket with the planning commission, is because they don't want the zoning administrator enforcing things they don't have to do with development. So the zoning regulations are for development. So sign regulations are in there. So if you're a small business
Right,
which has nothing to do with political signs.
right.
So if we as a town want to take a larger overarching approach to this, that's not a zoning. component.
Yeah, I think it's outside of the zoning discussion. I would
Which-
agree that I don't want our ZA to be putting a measuring tape on political signs that are gonna be up for an election cycle.
Even back to, you know, when at the September 15th meeting, Andy Alling, he had tried to do some research to address some of the bigger concerns, I think, and he brought you an example of what South Hero used. At the time, he only brought one copy to hand around, so I didn't notice this, but afterwards I was looking at it, it says ordinance on it.
Yeah.
It's not part of their zoning regulations, it's their ordinance, so it's, if you as a town really want to address this, I don't think the appropriate modality is through,
Zoning.
yeah. So if what's in there is what you think is appropriate for a small business or something like that, then there's nothing wrong with just let's approve these and move on. And if you want, we can address the larger discussion in future.
Yeah, I personally, I don't have any issues with as long as we reinstated the 75 foot and with the PUDs. I mean, the signage, well, whether they're campaign signs or whatever. I mean,
I would like to approve what we've done so far and then move on, and then if we have a problem in March or, you know, in November, people can bring their complaints to the select board.
When you're not on the
And,
board,
and, huh?
when you're not on the board.
Exactly. I wasn't gonna say that.
thank you for pointing that out, Corinne. Well, I mean,
I think we need to appoint a new committee for sign ordinance today.
To handle sign complaints.
all right, well, you know, so I'll entertain a motion there to accept.
I would recommend that we do put this on the agenda. I mean, the amendments are a big enough deal. And I think tonight we were really trying to decide how to move forward. It should be on the agenda clearly as we're gonna take action to adopt these. If, so maybe,
With the next meeting, you mean?
Yeah.
Our next select board. meeting?
No, okay.
does that make
I,
sense?
yeah, I would also support
I'm good either way.
adopting
Okay.
what we've got.
We've had this discussion and I'll put it on the.
Gone
next-
over it's enough.
Oh, but, so,
Okay,
Yeah,
This-
those are really the real big ones here is the 75 foot and the PUD.
Yep.
All right, so that'll be on our next one. Okay.
Hmm.
Moving on here, Fire Station Public Works Garage Project contract with DEW has been signed. And then we have Builders Risk Insurance. First, let's have Don give a brief synopsis of where we're at.
So, as Carl said, we got the contract signed. We got Andy Alling to agree to be the clerk of the works, so Andy and I will work together to represent the town. Andy felt he had enough time and he had sufficient experience to be able to do this. His particular experience is more with the civil side of things and the underground work, but he'll be a perfectly good clerk. He and I will be on the site, between the two of us a couple of times a week throughout the project and attend meetings. So Andy will be doing that for the town.
Well, let me just bring up there, have we approved that? We have a letter of intent from Andy Olin.
I haven't seen one.
You haven't seen it?
no,
Okay. I know we have one.
we do, I had assumed that was under the project director's purview to
Well, I think it'd be,
move forward.
I think
To do
we
the
would
hiring.
also be doing our due diligence here to have a motion here, but anyway.
I mean, I make a motion to ratify it.
We have
My
a
apologies if I overstepped.
Well, I mean, he has a-
That meeting.
budget amount and yeah,
Yeah, we have it in the budget. He's below budget. And he's agreed to, I'll make this brief, $85 an hour with a maximum of 15,000. We budgeted 20. And he still feels there that that'll come in lower than that, but. So, so why don't we have, Harry, you were leading off there on a motion there to ratify.
I'll make a motion that we ratify Andy Onling's hiring as the clerk of the works at $85 with a maximum compensation of 15,000. Thank you, Don, for lining it up.
We have a motion, we have a second. Claire seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, Don, please continue.
Okay, we are in the process of soliciting bids from engineering firms, testing firms to do the concrete testing and the soil density testing, which are required as part of the structural package. It's a third-party operation. They come in and they check to make sure that before the concrete goes down, the soil is properly able to support the concrete, and the concrete that is poured meets the requirements of the contract, and that's their job to test those things. They test through mostly during the foundation work being done, the digging of the foundations, and then both during the concrete footings, the concrete walls, and the concrete slabs. Those are all tested independently by a testing firm. And so that information has gone out today. We're anticipating that by the middle of the month, we'll have the proposals back, and that by this time next month, we'll have a proposal to present to you to accept them as the testing firm.
Okay.
We are moving along with DEW. We're scheduled to have our first meeting with them later on this month, actually the middle of the month. And we are, Andy and I and the architect are beginning to sort of prep and get ready for the project. The thing that we're waiting on, the one thing that is sort of still in the state of flux and is time sensitive, is the fact that we are waiting for the mechanical and electrical contractors to finish their drawings and hand us those, so we have a complete package and a building permit and a signed building permit to go to the state application, building permit application, and a check from the town of North Hero. We have all three of those, and we will rush them over to the state and say, give us a permit. We can actually start some aspects of construction without having that permit in hand, but we can't go very far. So we're still on schedule, and I have made note of the fact that we should have a groundbreaking ceremony, which all of you should participate with your golden shovels and golden hard hats. So I don't know how many golden hard hats and golden shovels people can help with that. Okay, well, we need at least like 7. If all of them can be involved, maybe Mike makes 8. So, but DEW has a group of people who work on these kind of things. So this is part of the plan. We will have, so we can get Michael Fred to come take a picture and put that in the aisle.
Good. Don, is there any kind of environmental testing of the soil that has to be done before you start?
Good question. The answer to that is no.
Oh, good.
But I'll give you a caveat to this. There are, I mean, obviously you can imagine that people have been parking on that driveway for 50 years. Well, what comes out of vehicles you parked? Oil and gas and everything else. So is there some environmental pollution? Likely, as there would be in your driveway. Any place where people park vehicles, you expect to have some of that. There are no known spills that have ever occurred on this site.
And
so
that's what triggers.
the dividing line is, we know of no, there are no known spills that have ever happened. Now, is it possible we might encounter some contaminated soil? It is possible. But we're going to deal with that eventuality. We have a firm on board via discussion that if we do encounter something, they'll come up and test.
Great.
And then what may happen is, if, let's just say we have some contaminated soils, it's possible. But our only underground tank that we know of is the propane tank, and that doesn't contaminate. The gas tank is above ground, above grade, so that's really not an issue. But if the contractor comes back and goes, we have problems here, they'll come up, they'll test. We will immediately come up with a plan. What we can do then is excavate the soil, set it aside, and then it can be exported to a location in New York where the soil is disposed of. That is not in our budget, but we do have a contingency, hopefully, that would certainly cover any of those costs. It is a possibility. At this point, it appears to be fairly unlikely that we're gonna have to deal with that.
Great.
But we are prepared.
Okay.
Okay. Builder's risk,
Yes, you had asked me to reach back out to, my contact with the Hill Group and see if they had an 8-month policy that would match the quote from Hub. And, they do not, but they offer pay plan options. So said it isn't necessarily that you would pay for it in full and then be asking for reimbursement if you don't go the 12 months. He said you could opt to pay in full, pay 2 times, 4 times, 9 times, 10 times. And he suggested perhaps the quarterly, and that way, if we hit the 8 months and we think we're gonna be done, we could contact them and say, we're done, and we don't think we need to make this 4th payment. So, he's trying to sell us a policy, but he seemed to think that would be just as time intensive as, renewing a policy in 8 months, and we have to extend it. So, we have the 2 quotes. When we broke them out on a per month expense, they were kind of apples to apples. So you had asked if there were any other deciding factors, and I had let you know that Hill was who was recommended by VLCT. Hill actually spoke highly of the person you got your quote from. So he was great to work with. He worked hard to find this out, so. And kind of.
okay, and that was with,
Hilb, Hilbo. You mean who the? Oh, Hub was Cincinnati.
Used to be the Essex agency.
So Hub was working with contracting with Cincinnati
Cincinnati would be the.
and
the
Hill
provider.
was. You wanna know who the insurance provider would be, right?
right,
Carl? Acadia Marine.
can you refresh my memory there on the prices again?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have that at my fingertips. Let's
It was
see.
in the last packet.
So, Acadia through Hill was $12,738
For a 12-month policy.
for a 12-month policy.
Mhm.
Yep, they're not apples to oranges. Let's see.
Since the.
Okay, so 8 months. With Cincinnati was $8,842.
Actually, Acadia is less expensive if we,
If you could buy the exact length of time. Cause Cincinnati does it in reverse. You buy it for 8 months, and then if you need it, you just extend it for a month at a time. That's better than.
that was how much again? 8,000
$842.
just over 1,100 a month. Acadia then is less than that. Because if we do the 9 months, correct?
Yeah. Not a huge difference, but it is.
Well, I'm just wondering there, so you can, if, I'm just looking at the per month, because if we go 9 months, then
Might save money over the 12.
you may, correct. So, did I make that clear as mud?
No, I understand. On a per month basis, Acadia is a little bit cheaper than Cincinnati. And, the only feedback I have is although the quarterly payments were encouraged, if we're really doing this, trying to do this from a potential cost savings perspective, we might want to break it out into smaller time increments.
Like 10 months?
I mean, if it's a 12-month policy. we
They
can do it
only
on a
offered,
monthly
he
basis.
reached out, he made a lot of phone calls on this, and sent me what Acadia was willing to do, and he said, I don't know why it's 10 months on a 12-month policy, but that's what.
So the maximum number of payments you can make is 10 payments on a 12-month policy.
But you'd be making
Yeah.
payments of $1,200 a month, right? It's not with that, you're not making payments you're not making 10 payments at $1,000 a month, you're making 10 payments at $1,200 a month,
Right.
I think,
That's the problem.
right?
I mean, he just said pay plan options are full, 2 pay, 4 pay, 9 pay, and 10 payments are possible with premiums over 10K. So because it's a 12K policy, we have flexibility in how to
1,200.
make payments.
As 1,200,
Yeah, versus 1,100.
So that's maybe that's why his recommendation was quarterly, because then you would be paying. We're concerned about not paying the last quarter.
well, I guess here's the other point. If we do move into the last quarter, you're paying for a 3-month premium, and then you have to get back potentially 2 months of that. So, overall, I don't, I don't want to split hairs over it. I think with Acadia, we do I would be, I would be more inclined to do the Acadia on a 10 payment policy so that in the event we do make 9 payments, right? That
Right.
takes us through almost the entire period.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What about do you have experience with this from the other side? No? Okay.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
To make a motion that we sign the Hild contract with Acadia on a 10-month installment plan.
Harry makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Claire seconds. Now further discussion. Hearing none. Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. You got all that, Corinne?
I do, thank you.
Okay. Move on to the next. Public Works. Public Works, as you know, our furnace went down, bad blower motor. They got that up and running today. As the weather warms up this week, I I spoke with Tracy Jewair, and he's gonna really scrape the roads down with that thaw, and then the quick freeze made the roads a little rough, but he's been trying to keep the sand on it. So, and the update there can come at our next meeting. Any other questions there on Public Works?
There was something on the warrant. Public Works, where is it?
Some parts,
Truck parts, 1680. That, did something break?
Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure that could be a cutting edge.
No, something
No.
broke.
Something did break.
Them coming in one day and such is broken. We're trying to get it back up, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh,
I know you had a
Yeah.
bed chain that
it was,
broke.
yeah, and it was the bed chain. That's what it was on the big truck. So. That's what it was. Okay, moving on, county budget update. So. What Corinne sent out to you there to give you an update is pretty much the same thing there that I received back there from the sheriff's department. And so there's an increase, of course. So any thoughts,
Well, I struggle with the sheriff's department, the county, and us as a town, and how they all come together. Because we pay the sheriff's department by contract, I think it's what, 84,000?
22 hours, yeah, 22 hours of service, yep.
And then the sheriff's department gives a budget to the courthouse, to the court, county court.
Yeah, court is separate though from,
And we are paying, based on that also, so we're paying two different places for the sheriff's department. And I can't tell if it's being duplicated or not, and I don't even know that we have any say in it.
well, they're two separate contracts.
Mm-hmm,
So, I mean, you have the county,
yeah,
which the sheriff department provides, and then we have our own individual contract
right,
with the sheriff's department. I can understand your thought process here. I'm not sure how you could ever, well, I mean, Ray's suggestion or what he's been trying to do is, he doesn't understand why the county doesn't pick up everything, even with the town contracts, so that he's getting paid basically with one check versus getting paid by all the individual contracts that he has, with the other towns,
And
so.
if he were paid by the county, would that allow him to allocate resources as he sees fit?
Probably, I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
nuances are
Yeah.
of all that, but,
like a lot of the expenses that he forwarded, and he only forwarded the expenses. We don't know about income,
mm,
so we don't know that part. But, it looked like they dealt with maintenance of the building and the costs of keeping a building going.
mhm,
But, it's more of a trying to understand how it works. And just making sure that the expenses and the income are in the proper categories, the proper pots. So, and I'm not sure it makes any difference. What got my attention was the increase in training.
mhm.
And if we're paying for salaries, they are our contract with the sheriff, wouldn't training be? Shouldn't that go under the sheriff's department and not
I think,
the county?
I think the way I look at this is that we're paying for service hours
Yes,
on a town basis.
yes,
So when we're paying for those service hours, we are simply paying the rate for those deputies to perform policing activities in our town. And when you look at the budget that's presented to the county, they're saying we're not, the county isn't hiring us for police hours. We're billing the county for overhead,
yes,
right? And so
but the training part, is that
I think
considered overhead?
the big increase in training this year has to do with the dog.
Well, actually, it has to do with going to a level 3 also,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for one of the deputies. You know, which that, of course, it
And-
costs quite a bit. So, and Joe, you can jump
And the
in.
hourly rate that he gives us per deputy, also includes cruiser, maintenance, gas, all of that. So it's kind of a combination of all of them. I'm not really familiar because I didn't research what goes on with the county. I know they still own the building, so the county gives them money back for leasing it. But
What about the tower?
the tower they sold.
They sold it.
Yeah.
They sold the tower. That's why there's also a reduction there in like communications there, whatever. And one of the lines there, they had that backwards there. They still had it in there, and that was supposed to be moved down to training versus for dispatching fees and this and that, whatever. So,
And I would imagine they have annual certs, stuff like that they have to maintain for training. So that's probably why he's looping it in.
And, you know, why I say it may not make any difference anyway, is if it's training and if there's a grant, it would match, you know, it should be under the sheriff's, but at the same time, he would push that down into our contracts. So it's like, maybe it doesn't make any difference at all in the long run.
And I think the other difficulty here is that we don't really have the capacity to do anything with the county contract rather than go to the county government and say, could you please try and negotiate more favorable contracts? Because
Yeah.
we pay our portion of the county budget and
Yeah,
that's just that.
yeah. Right, it's the old, you know, I don't think we can do anything about it.
No. It's like education funding. right?
Yeah.
The
And they're
school
gonna
board-
have-
the school board gets given a number
Yeah.
and they have that money to spend here and then the school board catches all the flack,
Yeah, right.
right? But those decisions are made on a state level, not on a local level.
Mhm.
So I think with our county budgets, it's kind of
Yeah.
the same.
and just as a caveat there, that's their first stab at it.
That what?
That's their first stab at this budget. So they haven't, that number won't be in until
I got notice today
you did.
that the 19th is the next meeting,
Okay,
and there were some attachments. I didn't have time to open it.
okay.
I did.
It went up about 4,000.
More than what they had proposed.
The new number is 123 something.
Well, before it was 8,000 and then,
Yeah, now it's
Plus
12,000. So
Yeah.
the new number is 123,535.
Put that as a reminder there on the 19th. And that's at 6 o'clock.
Forward on that one. But 1 p.m. January 19th, 1 p.m. at the Sheriff Department in Grand Isle. Just forward this to you all right now.
Is that, that Monday?
That's a Monday.
It is
Martin Luther
federal
King.
holiday, yeah. I will not be there.
which one? Which
Mhm.
federal holidays?
It's
Martin
MLK
Luther
Day.
King.
I'm sorry, what?
MLK Day.
Oh,
Schools are closed, so.
Claire, if you would like to,
Yeah.
you'd like to join me,
okay,
feel free.
okay.
Okay. I mean, anybody's invited. They're all invited. Okay, moving on. Treasurer balance sheet, budget status and financial snapshot.
Yep, by statute, I have to provide the financial reports quarterly, so halfway through the year. So your quarterly reports.
Okay,
So Lisa, under highway grant expense, that's 11,949. Is that,
What page of the packet is that on, Claire?
ugh, this is 39? Page 39.
That's the grants and aid. The grants,
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's the,
we haven't received the revenue for that yet.
oh, yeah. Oh, I have.
move it. Okay. Anything else, Lisa?
One other person.
Okay. And thank you for compiling all this. Lots of people. Okay, now, before you're out of the hot seat, delinquent tax collector, collections update.
The report on delinquent tax collection, so there was $18,518 outstanding for fiscal year 24 and 25. I'm still working with Michael Terrence's office for the tax sale process. We've not received any payments the last 2 months.
Any communications
No. No communications, no payments
from none of these? Okay. All right.
I shouldn't say that. Lola Scandori, properties have been transferred to the kids. That was a final distribution of her estate. And they are working through that.
And I noticed that they're on the DRB there for,
He's gonna subdivide that. Well, he's subdivided that property. He wants to change the boundary line. That property's going up for sale, so they're gonna sell it. And I've received the, addresses for the other 3 sons, and I'm gonna mail them the delinquent tax notice that are aware.
okay,
But it's all in the agreement that they all have to pay it equally, and we're just working through that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Lisa.
mhm.
Okay, annual meeting, town report dedication.
So I just distributed a draft to you all and Claire had an edit for spelling. But you all don't have any other input, I will move forward with it.
And that was on Rob.
No, it was on Oil. I had Jeff.
On Jay.
Oh, it should be Jay.
Okay. All right. I like it.
It's good to me.
Yeah.
Personnel policy.
Oh, wait, the annual meeting warning,
Oh,
yes.
right.
So, a couple things here. I have input numbers for the first 4 articles based on the budget and its current status. We either, of course, now the county budget's changed. I didn't know that.
So the county budget changed, and we finally today got the Northwest Solid Waste District number, which came in about what we projected, so. I'll update those numbers and just triple check everything and finalize.
So based on that, I don't recommend we approve tonight, which
Right.
I would have been a long shot anyway. So which means we need to decide if we want to do this on the 19th, which is Martin Luther, or if we want to have a special meeting.
So our next meeting is the 19th, right?
Yes.
Correct.
I likely will not be present on the 19th. Because
I mean, historic, like way back before COVID and we got really busy, we would always cancel select board meetings when they fell on a holiday. Since we've been doing these big projects and the grants, the board has been they kind of look at what's on the agenda and decide how to move forward. Last year, I think we did meet on Martin Luther. So that's to you guys.
When do we have the budget finalized?
The last day we should do this is the 19th. well, so the warning. So at this point, it's the warning and getting it in the town report, and my
Yeah,
deadline
yeah.
for the printer is actually that week, so. And I'd rather not cut it to the last minute, so I'd recommend we either schedule a special meeting prior to the 19th or meet the 19th as usual.
If,
What's the 16th look like? That's a Friday.
Well, let's step back a bit because, I mean, do we wanna do a formal approval or finalization of the budget? Like, do we wanna say, do you want Lisa to input these numbers and we do a drop dead point with it? Or do you want the numbers as their input into the warning to be? I think.
Well, you have to have it to the printer at a certain point, right?
Mhm.
Do we know what that date is?
Yes, the 19th is the last day I want the warning approved. So,
Okay.
There's a lot going on the 19th. And I
So
mean, we
sounds
won't,
like a special meeting to me.
so I was wondering there if we could do that if we did that on the 16th. And we can just enter the number there. I mean, the county one there. I'm not sure how effective we'll be there to get them to trim that. Probably not.
oh, I see.
So, but we have that number. Correct?
Yeah, so you can either enter their current proposed budget, or you could leave it at the estimate of 120. I mean, when we finalize,
I don't think we had the number last year.
yeah, we don't
Yeah,
usually
we
have the
don't.
number.
We don't,
Normally.
because they think they go off of the final grand list, and that's not, the final grand list numbers aren't due until the 15th of January. So it depends on how quickly the state turns around and gets that back to the county, so I think it's all still a projection until they finalize all that. Which really doesn't tie in well to when everything has to be
Has to be done.
posted and warned and all that other stuff, but. I mean, we're close, you know. I don't think it's gonna go up a lot more, do we?
budgeting is more of an art than a science anyway, so.
Well,
I don't think it's absolutely vital that we wait until all those numbers are fixed.
I don't think it's gonna swing that much that. Well, we're gonna be short.
So what's the board's pleasure?
And I think at this point, we're deciding about the numbers, like, do we want Lisa to make these two final updates? And we just, that's what we go with. She and I will update this, and then we can either meet on the 16th or the 19th, we can decide that next. But, as far as what numbers, I don't want us to meet on the 16th or the 19th and realize we've made another change, or we should have a drop dead point for the budget to move forward with the warning.
Well, so if we meet on the 16th, we could actually forego the 19th.
Correct. We could do the 15th or the 16th.
Uh,
Based on the availability of this meeting or.
Right. Does
No,
that
they-
work?
They meet the 8th because it's the second. Oh, wait, they moved it.
Yeah, they moved it.
Oh,
to
you're
50,
right.
But they
Yeah.
meet at not, I think they meet at 6:30, so
They meet at 6:30.
I think
And you're right, they did move that.
they did move it to the 15th.
Yeah.
But I think they're here at 6:30, so I think they're still
But the 16th. Cause they moved it to the 15th, didn't they?
Thursday the 15th.
Yeah,
Thursday
They
the
did.
15th. So we could do this on Friday.
Yep.
I mean, cause
I can't make it.
you can't make it.
No.
I'm out of town as well. I leave first thing Friday morning. I'm at a conference in Montreal for 3 days, and then MLK Day. I've got plans. I will be away from.
I can make the 19th, but. I'll be driving back from Rhode Island.
Um,
I'm sorry, I didn't bring this up sooner. I just kind of assumed we'd meet on the 19th with all that's going on. Cause we did last year too, so, yeah.
Well. Joe can make the 19th. I can make the 19th.
I think I can.
I can.
Okay. Well, then we'll just keep it at the 19th.
And we'll have Lisa update the budget with the two new numbers, and that will be the final change that we make, so we can bring, okay.
I have a question on the wording. It says warning, North Carroll annual meeting. Last year it said annual election.
Yes, meeting, so this year I went through the VLCT template. And it says meeting, and I look a little further into it, and that's actually what's in statute. So I think at one point I changed it to election to kind of clarify. What we're doing. There was a lot of confusion a few years ago of a town meeting versus,
An informational meeting.
yes. And so I was trying to use language to help clarify what we're trying to do, but when I realized that that's really what's in statute, really good catch.
Well, I saw that too, and it's explained in the next paragraph,
And,
that, you know, show up to
Yeah.
vote,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, by Australian ballot, you're actually supposed to say that, because there's 3 different ways you can do it in statute. Vote from the floor, that's pretty bad.
But that is confusing, because it's not a meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
And can you say annual informational meeting?
well, that's what's up
That's the
above.
night before.
So the first paragraph is telling people to come
Yeah.
to the informational hearing, and then the second paragraph is telling people to come vote, which is why I'd use the word election. I was trying to be more
Yeah.
clear. So, and I'm fine with putting that back. I mean, there's no statute police. I just was looking at the VLC template and realizing my terminology didn't match statute, and
After meeting, what if you put vote in parentheses?
I think I'd rather leave it annual election. I mean, we've had it there for 2 or 3 years now. With the goal of trying to be more clear. We could be clearer than statute.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no rule that says we have to use the words that statute does. I don't,
How about the annual election meeting?
I could do that.
Yeah, that's good, yeah, yep.
All right,
Okay.
I have something else though. So, number 13. Shall the voters authorize the select board to appoint a collector of delinquent taxes pursuant to 17 VSA? This would change the delinquent tax collector from an elected position to an appointed position.
Motivation.
So we talked about this briefly during the whole office restructure and the ultimate goal of having an independent, not independent, but a treasurer who, you know, we have a lot of treasurer functions in the town that have historically been a little scattered, and trying to bring them all together. So there's a treasurer, and going forward, it will be, I don't know if assumed is the right word, but we will be strategic in making sure the treasurer is also the water credit supervisor and the delinquent tax collector, and somebody who can really focus on the numbers and bring them all together for us. And I think this is a step in that direction, but there are pros and cons. You know, an elected position provides some autonomy to the voters and to the delinquent tax collector. If they're appointed, they would work kind of at the will of the select board. And so there's a tug and pull of there as to really how you want your town to operate.
So right now, we elect the treasurer and we elect the delinquent tax collector.
Mhm.
And there's a possibility that those two don't mesh.
Correct.
Doing it this way, you have, the select board has more say in keeping it under
Right.
one roof.
So even though the treasurer is still elected, you could ensure that whoever the elected treasurer is has
Gets
control
that job.
over
Yeah.
all of the,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a recommendation, and I,
Lisa, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we've talked,
I
I
was
didn't
just
know it was on there.
I know, I was just about to apologize, as I meant to bring this up sooner, and
We talked about it. I mean, she and I
Yeah.
talked about it in the past. I didn't know it was.
we have had trouble connecting for like a month, just
Well, and
holidays and stuff,
but,
no, it's,
um,
I could have emailed you, I just, but, so
Yeah, I don't know that I have strong feelings either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, if I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, I guess the con would be that you don't have the independent authority to make decisions about how to pursue the collection of taxes. We could, or another board could say,
This is how, yeah.
this is how you do it. And we want you not to pursue tax sale on these properties, but we do want you to pursue tax sale on the other ones.
could that
Hmm.
happen? I mean, the statutes are pretty,
Yeah, I don't, can
That would be
that be-
discriminating.
I mean, well, that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
Treat
I
one-
mean, but if you're working at the will of the select board, presumably
They could say.
that board could,
Hmm.
right? Because the statute outlines when you are eligible to pursue tax sales, not that you must.
Correct, because there are.
Pursue tax
exceptions
sales.
to
There are other
taxes.
options, right? You could just let it ride. Right, so I think that if I'm putting myself in your shoes, would be the thing that I would consider most carefully. As whether or not I would want that additional component to serving as the tax collector. Because if you are an independently elected municipal official, it doesn't matter what we think about how you do your job. You get to make the decision in line with what the statute empowers you to do. I think that would be the most dynamic change.
Good point.
it is.
How often are you elected to be the delinquent?
3 years.
2 years.
Is it?
2 years?
Three.
Three?
So
Oh,
it's
this
3
goes
years
along
right now.
with.
With the
Okay.
treasurer, yeah.
Right, so, I feel very lucky. Serving on a select board where it seems like. All the different spokes of the wheel that represents municipal government work well together, but that is not always the case. And so, I think being a board that is focused on ensuring that all of the people who give so much to the town feel like their interests are being preserved alongside meeting the important strategic goals of municipal governance. I wouldn't want to hastily make this choice if you had concerns about your independence from us. And so I guess that's something we could take up on the 19th. If you want some more time to think it through.
Yes, that's a really good point that I'm
It has to be before the 19th, because this is going to the printer.
Well,
I
right,
mean,
but-
well, I could just
Yeah.
delete it
Yeah.
and print up a new one for you guys to sign, so.
Right, so I mean,
Yeah.
a change like that could be made, I think, with relative ease if this warning is going to be approved at that
Yeah,
meeting,
A
but
delete button's a lot easier than replacing all these numbers.
If I've been elected for 3 years, can you change it halfway during the term?
Oh, well, I looked into that and I
Don't
can't
think
quite
so.
remember off the top of my head.
That's the.
no, I
That's
think
public.
we can't terminate your,
Right.
If you're elected, yeah, we can.
Well, that's why it has to be on the ballot. And it can't just be, so it would go into effect, but not until,
The term is
you're
up.
not
term is
until the
up.
term is up.
that's how it works.
That would
Is
be
it
my
3 years now?
presumption.
It is.
Because I think I was just elected in
Yeah.
24, so I think we have.
We get time,
Well, unless you're, I mean, if you were elected and you resign. Then,
Oh.
Well,
then we need to fill that
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
So at that point in time there, we would appoint, I guess,
I mean,
to that elected position.
this was really to get the conversation going. It's not.
yeah, I mean, I don't have, I don't have a strong opinion of this, either way. I think if I'm now putting myself on this side of the table, it would give the select board, more authority to intervene if the currently serving delinquent tax collector appeared to be taking actions that we didn't believe were in line with what we would be tax collector. Personal favoritism, right? That's kind of the first thing that came to Claire's mind. We as the select board could say, leave our friend alone. Which would be a violation of the municipal ethics rules anyway, right? So that would be an actionable problem on our side if we were doing it, but if the delinquent tax collector was simply not doing the job during an elected term, it's much more difficult to intervene. But if it's an appointed position, the select board could intervene to ensure that a new appointee is installed to more vigorously pursue tax collection. So that would be, but I don't have a concern to you. Like, so I don't see this as a now problem for us.
And, you know, and for me too, you know, we talked about, you know, appointed treasurer versus an elected, and
Yeah.
no matter if I'm appointed or elected, I would do the same job the same way.
Right.
You know, and I feel I can work with anybody and most anybody and work with, you know, whether I was appointed or elected, so you're right, I don't feel like it's an issue.
Honestly, that's why I keep pushing these discussions, is because things are going so well right now. These are when you want to have these discussions, is when everybody trusts each other.
Yeah.
And we're all getting along, and we know no matter what, we're all gonna do the best job we can. You don't want to be having these discussions when you have an issue and you're trying to figure out, is this really the structure we want for our town?
Yeah.
So this, I'm not trying to have this discussion based on what Lisa or I want, because we're gonna do a great job no matter.
I have a
What we're
question
asked.
regarding, you've been elected for 3 years and it's not up yet. So the taxpayers have elected them for 3 years. Their term is not up. Why would we change it midway?
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah. And I'll have to look more into that.
So
I think-
spend some time thinking about this and.
Yeah, I think for now we remove it from this warning
Yeah.
would be my personal preference. But if this is something that we do want to take up when it's closer to the natural end of Lisa's term, practical perspective, that we can bring this discussion back up.
And I think
It's a
it
good
would be a bigger discussion, because have you heard what's happening in Grand Isle? They want to go to a charter and appoint every position in town, so that they can decide who has what position. So.
South Heroes a charter, right?
so-
Didn't they just do that recently?
But I
Yep,
think we still
A
have.
couple of years
elected-
ago.
Well, they appointed, they
They
moved their
appointed treasurer,
treasurer, they moved to appointed.
but
Before
Grand
their
Isle
term.
wants to do everyone, cemetery commissioners, planning commissioners. From what I've read on the internet,
Yeah.
and I think it's a reaction to some other things going on there. But they want full control over everyone who's doing everything in town, and I'm not sure.
Which seems like a reactionary move, which
It
is what we're trying to avoid,
Right.
right? And be proactive.
There have been a lot of changes in municipal government in the years that I've been here. And I've really seen opportunities for being more strategic. And I just think we're at a good point to push some of those, but
I
at the
think-
same time, the world's not gonna fall apart if we don't, because we're all working so well together.
Yeah, but I think this is a worthy discussion and I agree that it's a bigger discussion. So yeah, I mean, my feeling personally is that we maintain the status quo and that we take this discussion up more earnestly at a later time.
Okay, any preferences for like after election and, maybe when,
Yeah, let's figure out, first of all, when, I don't know, if you were just elected last year,
2027.
so.
so. Yeah, so that would be sometime this year, we'd wanna have that discussion.
Right, so maybe we take it up later on this year after sometime after March.
Okay.
And kind of incorporate that with some of the other bigger discussions that are just not timely right now, like sign ordinances and, and those kind of items.
I agree.
Doing way too much.
apologize for not catching that earlier, because I had just crossed it out. But, thank you, Corinne.
I didn't want, my intent was not to sneak it through. I just, so.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Corinne. All right, on to personnel policy. These are the updates.
So I apologize, this is confusing because the last version I brought to you did not have the red lines. And so Claire requested include the red line version as it would have showed last time. But then I also have incorporated
So.
a clean version. The clean version included a lot of grammatical updates. I just think it's been a while since we went through. I have a list of what those changes are. If you're curious, but really, I've been wanting for a while in this document to make the table of contents one that will automatically update based on the headings. And that's the real big one. I'd be a vacation accrual time. I put it into a table so it looks nice. It always kind of bugged me how it was. So, yeah, so I incorporated the attachment with the benefits. There was the change based on our new insurance carrier. So that's the two big things we were trying to accomplish here is update the benefits attachment and remove the probationary period. And there's no yank on this. We're not about to hire anybody. So if you all want to review it more in depth, if you want me to come back with another red line version based on the grammatical updates, if you keep more information.
Why don't we review this one? I mean, I'm satisfied with the way that it is.
I am too.
Okay, yeah, I am too.
So, I mean,
And I like the way doing this piece by piece rather than, was it 3 years ago? Claire and I were going through it line by
You guys spent
line.
almost a year on that.
Yeah.
It was a big, yeah.
okay, so shall we have a motion on that to approve this?
Make a motion that we approve the amended personnel policy as presented.
I'll second. Thanks.
All right,
Sorry, Claire.
Harry makes the motion, Joe seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. In front of us here, we also have IT update.
The signature page of the clean version.
Okay. Corinne, would you like to?
Yeah, so our IT vendor, VC3, we have monthly reviews and then quarterly kind of check-ins. And this last one was an end of the year, so we did a kind of a deep dive. And I just thought it was a good document to show you. I mean, IT has become a little bit
Unwieldy.
or consuming, but yes, I mean, the select board executive assistant is supposed to be a 15-hour a week position. And this is become a big chunk of that. So I just thought it would be a good time to kind of bring that back to your attention, especially the ongoing projects, future projects. They are listed in the order of my belief of a priority. If you had any input on that, I wanted to give you the chance to weigh in or have a discussion as to why those are my priorities. And as far as future projects, most of these are based on how our office works. And I don't really expect you to get into that nitty gritty, but a lot of this revolves around how our departments interweave and remote meetings, which you all are heavily involved in. And if people have concerns, will come to you. So it's just an update.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne.
And also, and the use of technology in our office, I think is really top rate and it's nice to have. I'm glad both of you or all three of you are on top of that. Because it seems pretty flawless now. I'm sure you had problems, so I would not make that comment, but from my point of view.
I mean, I can see how even, we seem like a small organization, but we're 4 or 5 departments at 4 different locations and what we try and do with remote meetings, we really do a lot more than the average town. And I'm constantly trying to moderate, like, okay, you can't do it all. So there are things that I definitely want to do that we just aren't able to. So, I still have my concerns, but, working with them what we got.
Oh, just a point of information, the AI stuff you've been doing, is that working out?
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. Very helpful.
Great, great.
Use it daily.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, that's my
Yeah.
entry for the town report was AI this year.
Yeah.
I can see why it saves time. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Correspondence, sign ambassador email, and an email here from Kenny, just updating us. His contact there with the landowners where the current signs are, and he, all the materials have been purchased and both signs are under construction. So I thank Kenny Bassett very much. And then we have a thank you there from Voices Against Violence. So
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Harry makes a motion to adjourn, Joe seconds.
Sorry, Claire.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, we are officially adjourned at 6:26 PM.
I had to put this on 10 minutes ago.